Hi, 6th grade. Today we have a couple of concepts we're going to talk about in lesson 96, but the first thing we're going to talk about is estimating angle measures. And one way we can talk about angle measures is to talk about our clock. And to think about our clock, we can think about it as a full circle, and we know that our full circle is 360 degrees, right? When we go all the way around, that's 360 degrees. Well, we also know our clock can be divided into 12 sections, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sections that mark the hours. So if we were to take our 360 degree clock and then divide that by 12, then that becomes 30 degrees. So each of these sections is a 30-degree angle. And so on. So 1/12 of a circle is 30 degrees. So at 1 o'clock, it's gone 30 degrees. And then at 2 o'clock, it's gone 60 degrees. At 3 o'clock, it's gone 90 degrees. And that's something familiar to you because we can see here that is 90 degrees. 30 plus 30 plus 30 is 90 degrees. And there is our right angle. And we know that's 1/4 of our circle and 90 degrees of our circle. Okay, so now let's look a little bit closer at our minute marks. We have 60 minute marks. And like we said, that this circle goes 360 degrees. So if we divide that by our 60 minute marks, and I won't go all the way around the circle, but you get the idea, then we will find that each of these ends up being 6 degrees. So as I go around my circle, as each minute passes, each angle becomes 6 degrees. So that's a 6-degree angle, that's a 6-degree angle, that's a 60-degree angle, and so forth. So we can use our clock to help us estimate angles. So let's look at example 1. They give us these angles here, and they tell us to estimate the measure of angle BOC in the figure below. They want us just to estimate it. Well, if I were to lay this over a clock like this, BOC, and see how we lay this right over the 12, I can get a good idea of the estimate of this angle. I know that from here to here is 30, and then from here to here is another 30, and I know from here to here is another 30. So I know it's going to be less than 90. And I know that there are 5 minutes in between here and here. So I'm probably going to guess that it's somewhere around the 3-minute mark. So that would be 3 minutes. So that would be 1, 2, 3, and each of those being 6 degrees. From here to here would give us an 18-degree angle. So now we can add those up. 30, 30, and 18. And we can say maybe it's about 78 degrees. If we look and take our protractor to the angle, and we put our protractor, our angle B, right at this 0 mark right here, and put our vertex right here, then as we measure up and see, it lands right at 75 degrees. So our estimate of 78 degrees was pretty close to the actual of 75 degrees. Okay, now it is your turn to practice. By counting the minute marks on the clock face, find the measure of angle AOB. So you're going to find the measure of angle AOB. Pause it and go. Okay, so I have angle AOB, and we found that there are 4 minute marks. You're going to multiply that by 6 degrees, and 4 times 6 is 24 degrees. So that is your answer. Practice B. Again, you're going to use those minute marks, and you're going to do AOC this time. AOC. Go. Okay, hopefully you found that instead of counting minute marks, you only had to count these hour marks, because it landed right at 4, and each of the hour marks is 30 degrees. And so there's 4 hours, 30 degrees times 4 hours gives you 120 degrees. Okay, practice C, angle AOD. AOD, count those minute marks and hour marks and go. Okay, there were 7 minute marks. Each of those is 6 degrees, so your answer is 42 degrees. Another way you could have done that is to see that from here to here is 30 degrees plus another 12, and then you get 42 that way. All right, the second part of the lesson is distributive property. Distributive property, remember, is when we have a number or a variable and it is sitting next to this parentheses, meaning that it's being multiplied by the items inside the parentheses. So if I have A and it's being multiplied by this B plus C, it's going to look like this on the other side of the equal sign. A times B plus A times C. So you're distributing the A to the B, and you're distributing the A to the C. That A gets to go and hang out with the B and with the C. So A is being multiplied to both terms. So let's do some practice problems with this. Okay, let's do some examples. Let's do A. So we have 2 being multiplied by x minus 3. So I want to take this 2 and I'm going to multiply it by x, and I'm going to multiply it by a negative 3. So my answer ends up being a 2x and negative 6. So there's my answer, 2x minus 6. Okay, so now let's look at problem B. negative 2x plus 3. All right, we're taking our negative 2 and we're multiplying it by x. And we're taking our negative 2 and we're multiplying it by 3. Our negative 2x is negative 2x. Our negative 2 times 3 is a negative 6. And now all we have to do is combine this. Negative 2x minus 6. Negative 2x minus 6. Okay, let's do practice C. Or example C. Negative 2x minus 3. Okay, we're taking this negative 2 and we're multiplying it by x. And we're taking the negative 2 and we're multiplying it by negative 3. This stays a negative 2x. Over here, our negative 2 and our negative 3 become a positive 6. So now our answer becomes negative 2x plus 6. And lastly, x multiplied by x minus 3. We have an x times an x, and then we have an x times a 3. X times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. So our answer is x squared plus 3x. Okay, do the practice D. X times x minus y. See how you do, and then we'll come back and do it together. Okay, so we have our x being distributed to our x and to our y. So we have an x times an x, and then we have an x times a negative y. Well, x times x is x squared, and if I have an x times a negative y, that becomes a negative x y. So my answer ends up x squared minus x y. Okay, practice E. Negative 3 multiplied by 2x minus 1. Try that one. Okay, remember you have a term here, and you have a term here, and you want to distribute the 3 to this, and then to this. So you're going to have your negative 3 multiplied by your 2x, and you're going to have your negative 3 multiplied by your negative 1. So you have a negative 3 times 2 becomes a negative 6x, and a negative 3 times a negative 1 becomes a positive 3. And then you just put it together to equal negative 6x plus 3. Okay, now practice F. Negative x times x minus 2. Go. Okay, again, I have my x and my negative 2, and I want to distribute this negative x to this term and this negative x to this term. So I'm going to multiply my negative x times x and my negative x times negative 2. A negative x times x gives me a negative x squared. A negative x times negative 2 gives me a positive 2x, because a negative and a negative becomes a positive, and that's a 2x. I push them together, and I get negative x squared plus 2x. All right, try this one out. Negative 2 parentheses 4 minus 3x. See how you do. Okay, we're going to distribute. So I'm going to take my negative 2 and multiply it by my 4. And then I'm going to take my negative 2 and multiply it by my negative 3x. Negative 2 times 4 gives me a negative 8. Negative 2 times negative 3 gives me a positive 6. And then I have my x, so I have an x. And now I push them together. Negative 8 plus 6x. Okay, example 3. Let's rewrite the problem. We have x squared plus 2x plus 3 parentheses x minus 2. Okay, so we're going to focus on these parentheses first. Remember, I have these two terms that I want to distribute my 3 to. So let's focus on that. I have a 3 and an x, and then I have a 3 that needs to be distributed to my negative 2. So this becomes just 3x, and this one becomes a negative 6. So I have a 3x minus 6. Well, let's now bring down the rest of this problem. 2x, x squared. Now you should notice here that I have a 2x plus a 3x. 2x's plus 3x's gives me 5x's. So I have x squared plus 5x minus 6. Okay, practice H. X squared plus 2x minus 3, parentheses x plus 2. Go. Okay, so remember we're going to focus on the parentheses first. Okay, so I have my 3, and that's going to get multiplied by my x. And my 3 is also going to get multiplied by my positive 2. Oh, but you know what I forgot? This is a negative 3. So my negative 3 is going to get multiplied by my x, and my negative 3 is going to get multiplied by my 2. So I end up with a negative 3x and a negative 6. And now we can bring down my 2x and my x squared. So now we can look and see what we can combine here. And I see that a plus 2 minus 3, that gives me a negative x, a negative 1, right? Because if I have plus 2 minus 3 equals negative 1. So that just gives me a negative x. So I have x squared minus x minus 6 as my answer. Okay, and last example, let's rewrite it. We have x squared plus 2x minus 3 parentheses x minus 2. Okay, so again, we're going to focus just on these parentheses. And notice that again, I have this negative 3. So I'm going to distribute my negative 3 to my x and my negative 3 to my 2. So I have a negative 3x and a negative 3 and a negative 2. So this becomes a negative 3x, and this would become a positive 6. So I'll bring everything else down. I have x squared plus 2x minus 3x plus 6. That gives me a negative x. So I have x squared minus x plus 6. Okay, and here's the last practice problem. Go for it. Okay, so I'm going to distribute. Again, remember that this is negative. So I'm going to have a negative 3 times x and a negative 3 multiplied by a negative 2. So that gives me a negative 3x and a positive 6. Bring down my negative 2x and my x squared. So I have x squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 6. A negative 2 minus a negative 3, well, that is my negative 5x. So I have x squared minus 5x plus 6. Okay, we are done. Make sure you finish everything in the Google form. And you do your written practice. And I will see you later. Miss you.